Star Trek is owned by CBS Studios, Inc. Look again at that dot. That's here. That's home. That's us. On it, everyone you love, everyone you know, everyone you ever heard of. Every human being who ever was lived out their lives. The aggregate of our joy and suffering. Thousands of confident religions, ideologies, and economic doctrines. Every hunter and forager, every hero and coward, every creator and destroyer of civilization, every king and peasant, every young couple in love, every mother and father, hopeful child, inventor, and explorer, every teacher of morals, every corrupt politician, every superstar, every supreme leader, every saint and sinner in the history of our species lived there, on a mote of dust suspended in a sunbeam. Imagination will often carry us to worlds that never were, but without it we go nowhere. Somewhere, something incredible is waiting to be known. These are the voyages of the USS Pegasus.
Commander Yannick log supplemental. Stardate 6.2021.130.1. I have been reassigned from the Normandy to the Pegasus. To address the current shortage of qualified personnel and ships at Starfleet's disposal. The USS Pegasus is a retrofitted NX-class ship and is still lacking many of the necessary systems that a starship in this class should be equipped with to meet the current mission requirements. I do have some measure of satisfaction receiving a promotion from Starfleet Command. However, with regards to the problems for the Pegasus, I neither look forward to resolving them, nor am I afraid of them. They simply exist. And supplemental log.
So, it's been a couple of days, and you're on duty somewhere, and you hear over the... it's like the PA system they have there, and they say, you hear, Imperial Klingon Cruiser Nightmare docking Bay 3.
Excellent.
Okay, so if I receive the thing that a Klingon ship is approaching, and if I know that that is the ship carrying my soon-to-be crewmates, I will make my way to the docking bay.
I would probably have a really bad hangover, considering the concussion.
I would say that's completely fair.
More head injuries.
But this was internal, not external.
Honestly,
driven.
he's gotta like be wrapped in bubble wrap or something.
Okay, so I will make my way down to the docking bay.
You're walking by this great big window that looks out into the main starbase, because the starbase has a large set of doors and it's circular. So a lot of the base is built around, there's floors above, and then there's the big docking bay, which has, for the most part, facilities that go around the ring. And then the main part of the facility is really below the docking bay sort of area. And you're walking past this large... It's a window, but it's big. And it's looking out into there. And there's several merchants docked, and there's a couple of Federation ships docked. And there's a shimmering of light, and this huge bird of prey decloaks as it's in the bay.
Was I aware that it was the Nightmare before?
Yes. They announced it. Yeah.
Because, I'm familiar with the crew of the Nightmare, right?
Yes. And there's a couple of people drop trays, and there's a couple of, startled screams initially as this massive ship just suddenly appears, and then it moves into position and docks.
Okay, I will wait for them to disembark, and I will meet them when they come in.
And you get a message on the ship that you have docked at Narandra.
Excellent. Is Lieutenant Book conscious? How are we gonna get her off the ship?
They have a couple of Klingons willing to carry her, on a proper stretcher.
Excellent.
To the station's sickbay.
Okay, I'm gonna go with her until I am no longer able to, I guess.
Condor walks in as they pick her up, and Bredor's like, did you decloak inside the station again? No! Why would I do that? Just because that's what you always do. And she hits him in the chest.
Okay, so when he enters the station, I will greet him. I guess he's probably leading the way.
Yep.
I'll say, Captain Condor.
Yannick!
To see you again.
Walks up and he gives you a bit of a punch.
I just kind of politely shrug that off and just mention that it is most agreeable to see you again. I trust your travels have treated you well.
A little off course. I ended up picking up some of your crew. You're misplacing them.
Indeed.
To be fair, we did misplace ourselves.
You must be Lieutenant Kelle.
Yes, Lieutenant Tuan.
Okay, well. And the rest of your companions are unhurt, I assume?
Well, to be honest, everybody's a little worse for the wear, but Lieutenant Book here is in the most critical condition.
Critical condition. Might I ask what it was that led you to such a state of affairs?
We were responding to a distress call on Xerses 4 and ran into some trouble.
Fascinating. Well, let's get the injured treated. There is plenty of work to be done aboard the Pegasus.
All right, Lieutenant Book is not actually a crew member of the Pegasus. She was just sharing a shuttle with us. I believe she is going to head to the station medbay.
Very well. Should I send for station personnel to transport her to the medbay, or is she being assisted by the Klingon?
They said they were able to bring her.
Okay. All right, with that, Yannick makes a gesture to come this way.
All right, I will follow. I assume everyone else is here.
Oh, well, after a little while, the commander
Yeah,
stumbles out of the hatch.
I was kind of waiting
from
for
the
that.
bird of prey. He didn't really want to leave the ship. It's like, my home. I want this to be my home.
And Aura is, he slept in a little bit, but he's walking out now.
I'm the only punctual one.
Well, you were the only one not severely injured, to be fair.
Actually, not true. I had several wounds as well.
So, who's Kelle talking to?
I was talking to Yannick.
Actually, that was...
Oh, sorry.
that was...
Who are you? Who's the commander saying this to?
Hang on. The commander is like... he was sort of stuck at the hatch, didn't know whether to leave, wanted to still hang around, and then Aura was shuffling out, so he decided to join Aura, and he's like turned to Aura and who's Kelle talking to?
I'm not sure. I wonder if that's the first officer or someone we were supposed to meet.
Is there a visible rank on this person?
And I was just going to say at that moment, maybe I'll step up and say, Lieutenant Aura, Commander Hunt, if you could accompany me, please.
Oh, Hunt looks surprised.
And then he introduces himself. I am Commander Yannick. I am the second in command to Captain Taylor Lockley of the USS Pegasus.
Oh, First Officer Yannick. Pleasure to meet you.
It's a pleasure to meet you as well.
Apologies for being tardy.
How is your head doing, Commander?
Fine, thank you. He's in obvious pain.
Okay, well...
Yeah, I know.
Yes, Yannick has already suggested that you guys all check in with Medbay first. And once you get diagnosed and treated there, then you are to proceed to Docking Bay 94. And that is where the Pegasus is stationed. And time is somewhat of the essence. However, we will not set course with a injured crew, so you take what time you need to heal. The ship is in a state of retrofit, and you will have to make accommodations to deal with less than the typical Starfleet luxuries that we are allowed.
All right.
So, the ship's in the middle of a retrofit?
The main systems have been retrofitted. However, there are still several issues with retrofitting a ship of such an age. There's going to be problems getting systems integrating.
Pointless in a way. They would have been better off to build a new ship, to be honest.
Were resources infinite, we would have done just such a thing. I have no doubt.
I disagree. She's beautiful. Give me a star to sail by.
The captain is a bit of a romantic.
Hunt looks around. Hey?
Condor.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Condor?
Yeah.
The captain of the Klingon ship.
Hunt's a little bit flabbergasted. Turns away, slightly shocked, and walks off to the medical bay.
Yannick, I'm about to cloak myself. I think my sister is going to realize any second now that we decloaked while in Starbase, and she's going to be mad. I will talk to you later.
Thank you again, Captain, and say thank you to your sister.
Fair weather.
We will
Very well. Safe journey, and live long and prosper.
we will tell stories of your courage.
Why are you talking like that? You don't normally talk like that.
Who?
You. Aura.
Oh, we both said who at the same time.
What do you mean?
We will tell stories of whatever. You don't normally talk like that.
Well, they're Klingon. They like that, I think.
Ah. All right.
I think he's trying to be diplomatic.
Exactly.
I see.
And
He's
to our-
fostering the goodwill between the Federation and the Klingon Empire.
And to show our appreciation for being rescued.
I don't think it works quite as well when you say that's why you're doing it.
Well, you asked,
I did.
but yeah, just trying to show my gratitude.
I see.
And Aura is going to walk off in the direction of the med bay, following the commander.
Kelle will go as well.
Yeah, okay. I will take them to the med bay.
And it's not full, but there's a few people there.
Okay, and I will talk with the attending doctor or the nurse or whomever is on duty and let them know that we have 4 people that probably need treatment.
And she takes one scan of Lieutenant Book, and she's like, we'll get her to surgery. And she says
very
something
good.
quickly to one of the attendants, and they start preparing one of the suites, and 2 of the remaining nurses come over and say what appears to be the nature of the medical emergency.
To who?
Are you okay?
He hit his head.
The commander here has suffered several head injuries, unfortunately.
3.
Lieutenant... Yes, 3. Lieutenant Thatcher here has more general injuries, and I believe that my ribs are cracked or possibly broken.
What?
I already told you that.
It's the
Is
head.
your memory affected?
It appears my short-term memory has been affected.
Back when the commander accused Kelle of being a drug addict. Because she took the
Did what?
painkillers.
Wait,
Adam's forgotten as well.
when did I do this?
Once we found the medbay of the center on Series 4, I said Kelle would take some painkillers as soon as she found them, and you said, oh, a drug addict.
I did no such thing.
You did! It's recorded!
Yeah, I was gonna say, there is some pretty solid evidence.
Wow. My character's completely forgotten about that. Maybe if that was a side effect of the concussion.
So they motion to 3 beds.
Alright, Kelle will go get on one.
Yeah, Aura as well.
And then Commander will.
Who looks the least injured out of all 3?
I believe it would be me.
Okay.
You've got cracked ribs.
Yeah, so you've got, like, brain damage.
Excuse
Well,
me?
basically what I was going to try to do was to find out what happened.
The medical crew
More
are
of the
finding
detail of what happened.
The medical crew are finding
this
this.
interesting. As the accusations of drug use and are flying across the room now that they're safe, the accusations are coming out.
So I will tell the EMH that maybe we need 3 doses of sedative. But basically, I'm going to try to talk with Kelle to find out,
Okay.
like, you know, what exactly happened to cause these injuries. What were you know, like, get the background on what were you doing before this.
Yep.
So trying to push for questions about, you know, what were they investigating? Is this something
yep,
that we
sure.
should be looking at in the new ship?
She'll definitely tell you. Do you want me to actually go over it, or do you have any specific questions?
Well, why don't you go over what you think would be the pertinent points, and then we'll just play it out from there.
We received a distress signal from a research center on Xerses 4. We understood it to be a center researching plants. Once we got there, there was an ion storm covering most of the planet, which the commander here basically attempted to pilot the shuttle down to the surface of the planet as we were unable to transport. We ended up crashing the shuttle, which accounted for the worst of the injuries, Lieutenant Books, and the first incident of head trauma. Once we took a look around, we discovered that the scientists who had been studying there had been affected by something. They were acting like more primitive versions of their respective species, almost as though they de-evolved. I was able to examine a few of them after we had a run-in and there was combat, and once they were unconscious, I did discover that their DNA had actually been altered. I know Aura found some plant samples. Basically, a plant they were studying, they wanted to use it to help treat Irumodic syndrome and some birth defects as well. They found it was very effective, but it reacted with ion energy. And we think that is what maybe caused the scientists who were studying to change into what they did.
Did any member of the crew come into contact with the plants or the plant spores?
Not to our knowledge. Aura did recover some samples of the plant, but those were contained.
Okay. I'm going to run that by the medical hologram doctors and have
Excellent.
them run scans on you to check that there's no residual ion particles or anything that's kind of outside of the normal.
All
So
right.
they can run you guys through special filters, and we will go from there.
Excellent. There are still scientists on the planet affected by this. We were unable to do anything for them.
Okay, we will inform Starfleet Command, and they can either dispatch a ship to take care of that, or they will be sending the Pegasus to take care of it.
All right. You would need to ask Aura, as he had the specifics on this, but I do recall that the ion storm was growing, and there was a certain point at which he believed it would cover the entire planet. I don't remember the time limit, so I'm not sure if that has already happened.
Okay, so we'll contact Starfleet Command immediately then.
All right, thank you.
So Aaron, I've had them do extra scans on the injured crew members to be sure there's no residual traces of ion.
To make sure we
ion
won't turn into
particulate.
cavemen.
Exactly, to prevent them from de-evolving. Kelle has filled me in on the rest of the happenings on the planet's surface, so I suggested we tell Starfleet Command immediately, and they will either dispatch a ship to rescue the remaining scientists on the planet before it gets overwhelmed with the ion storm, or perhaps the Pegasus will be dispatched to do that. But either way, Starfleet Command should know.
Very good. And they've put a little device that wraps around the front of Hunt's head, and it's got lots of flashing lights as it's rearranging the molecules of his brain.
Did they get a cortical stimulator?
Yes,
Emily did Star Trek medical research.
which is good, because we didn't. And they are working on your ribs. There's another machine. Luckily, being the future, they have a lot of things that just work without having to be strapped up and stuff like that. Although that's still legitimate when you don't have access to some of that.
Yeah. And Aura never mentioned specific injuries, so I don't know, I just kind of assumed he was generally beat up.
Yeah, I can't remember because it was so long ago, but I believe he had like a pretty deep gash in his shoulder.
So under proper medical care, it takes about 3 hours before you get a clean bill of health.
Excellent. And we are certified not turning into cavemen?
Not turning into cavemen.
Nice.
Although the report sent to Yannick says there was a little bit of not anywhere near danger levels, but there was some, not changes to your DNA, but definitely some stuff in your system that had registered.
Okay. Did we hear back from Starfleet Command with regards to the planet?
Only that they have dispatched a scientific vessel.
Okay.
Which
and
will
make sure to tell them that
yeah.
there's a ion storm that's threatening to overwhelm the entire planet. I'm assuming long-range scan would tell them everything they need to know about that, though.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, once they're cleared, then I will escort them to the USS Pegasus and have them meet Captain Lockley.
And what
the commander's
what
following.
state is the ship in?
The ship is basically, I think you said we do not have warp engines yet?
That is correct.
Okay.
You got the engines, you don't have the core.
Okay, so we are without a warp core. We should have intership communications working. We've got, obviously, life support is working. Things like lighting are a little bit touch and go. I think we've got all the absolute essentials. Maybe sensors are touch and go, but shields are fully operational, and maybe weapon systems are touch and go. Helm should be responding fine, however, the big caveat is no warp power available. Replicators are down as often as they're working, so we've had to become accustomed to Starfleet, whatever, EVA rations type stuff, right? Away team rations.
Just curious, how do we refer to the number 2? And I'm not.
I don't know. I think we just call you.
Officer?
I think they just call you Commander.
Commander?
Then we got 2
Yeah.
commanders as well as 2 lieutenants.
Yep.
Yeah.
I would just call me XO then,
Yeah.
I guess.
Yeah. There's only
XO.
one that's XO first officer.
XO.
XO.
Okay. Cool.
Yeah, executive officer.
Because we've already got lieutenant. The 2 people go, yeah?
LTLT Commander XO.
Yep, that's not bad. I mean, I think if you just call people by their, I guess I'll try to remember that, to just say Lieutenant Aura, Lieutenant Kelle. Sorry, what's the last name again? It's Kelle.
Tuan is the last name. Tuan. And Aura's last name is Thatcher.
That's right. No relation to Margaret.
Not British.
To Margaret. So, Lieutenant Tuan, Lieutenant Thatcher. Okay.
So basically the ship's inoperable other than normal...
The ship can travel. Like I said, we don't have warp power, but we still have impulse engines.
Oh, okay. So when are we expected to get warp capacity?
Well, we are awaiting the proper components for a warp core to be retrofitted to this older class of ship. These aren't just the equipment the exact components needed to retrofit a ship of this age, which is, at this point, it's probably like 100 and something years old. It's difficult to come about those components.
Okay. Thanks, XO. Is there anything you need me to do?
Well, if you would happen to know where we could get said components for warp engines, that would be great. The other things that are touch and go is our lighting, our weapon systems, and our replicators.
I could tell you, XO, but that would probably require you breaking a few Starfleet rules, which you probably do not wish to do.
This would have to be, there's not a way we can do this above board.
Oh, I'm sure there is. But
Then,
if you want something done quickly,
then
you sort of have to skirt under the table.
yeah, he's not. I mean, if we get it and I don't find out about it, so be it. Or if it's an emergency, so be it. But until that point, I wouldn't be willingly just going off and breaking the
I'm
things.
starting to like
However, you are welcome to talk to the captain.
Oh, we should probably go introduce ourselves
Perhaps.
to the bridge then.
All right.
Assuming the captain's on the bridge. Do we have those little diddly things? Comlinks.
So I'll contact Captain Lockley and say, Captain, Commander Yanek here. I've got Lieutenant Thatcher, Lieutenant Tuan, and Commander Hunt with me. Permission to come aboard, sir.
Permission granted. I'm in my ready room. Is that the last of our missing crew?
I believe so, Captain. Yes.
Very good.
So we get on our turbo lift and make our way to the bridge, or to the ready room.
Which I think,
Were you missing anyone else? Sorry, go ahead.
which is off the bridge, I think.
Yeah, I'm not sure if we were missing anyone else. Not to my knowledge.
It just seemed like the captain seemed to be missing a few crew.
Well,
Just like the ship.
yeah, exactly. We are
Parts of the
probably
ship.
missing a lot. But I don't have the details. I am only recently arrived here myself.
Ah.
Previously, I was serving aboard the Normandy. You might have heard of Captain Lamperouge.
I believe I have.
I know of the ship. I'm not particularly aware of the crew.
In an alternate universe, I was on that ship. Anyway.
Yes, I don't know the crew either.
Okay, well, it was a fine ship. Served with Lieutenant Commander Evangeline, medic. Lieutenant Commander Scon, the chief engineer. And for a brief period of time, we had a gentleman by the name of something operating the helm, and I can't remember what was his name in that.
Ah, that seems to be an unusual name. Something.
No good asking the GM.
No, Tanner Mav
Yes.
was our navigation, our comm
Ah.
person, as well as Ensign Emma Newman and Officer Sarin. Yes, a rather full ship. My two sub-commanders in the science division were Ensign Benjamin Higgs and Harold Boson.
The Normandy, was that a Larson class destroyer?
I believe it was. Indeed. Your starship history serves you well, sir. Impressive.
I like to know my ships.
All right, well, we make our way to the ready room.
And it is currently lit by candles.
Excellent.
It looks awesome. It has a very ship feel to it, old ship feel to it.
Oh, I see what you're going for here.
Ah, very interesting.
Is it always going to be like this?
I imagine not once the lights are sorted out, Aura.
Well,
I do not believe it is a choice made.
there
just
was
because.
definitely a choice made here.
Yep.
Captain, Lieutenant Commander Hunt reporting for
Welcome
duty.
to the Pegasus.
Sir.
Such as it is at this stage,
Thank you.
has Mr. Yannick filled you in on our current situation?
He has, sir.
Excellent. He gets up, walks around and leans against the desk.
Seems like we're flying a bucket of...
Well, in fairness, She was pulled out of mothballs. She was already decommissioned quite a while ago. But Starfleet needs ships, and we are in the situation we are in.
Fair enough, sir.
So, there are missions to be had, but we can't get to them yet. We need to get this ship up and running.
And how do you suppose we do that, sir?
Well, at the moment we are hassling every merchant, every Starfleet outpost, from here all across every sector that we can get, basically until they get annoyed of us, give us what we want, and we go away. Part of the problem is the age of the ship. Getting everything that will fit properly and work properly is not been as easy as originally thought.
And how old is the ship?
Mr. Yannick?
That long. Actually, this ship is more like 200 years old.
Ah.
Well,
If I'm reading my history right, the first Enterprise was launched in 2151, and it's now Earth calendar timeline 2370, thereabouts, 2375. So you're looking at 220 years, approximate age of this ship.
Wow. It's a good thing I'm not scared of floating out into space or anything.
That was an oddly specific comment.
Yeah, I think the hull retrofits were probably completed first, so they're probably very intact. I wouldn't be saying probably as a Vulcan, I would be saying the hull retrofits have gone successful. The ship is space-worthy. However, as I said, some systems are not yet. You have to realize the warp reactor that was originally on this ship was only capable of doing warp 5. So we are currently trying to retrofit it with something capable of doing roughly double that warp speed.
What do you need us to...
So, assuming that we do retrofit it with a warp core that can potentially drag us up to that speed, we're having to also strengthen things like the bulkheads.
That has been all that
too.
all that work has been done. All structural repairs have been made. The ship
okay.
is the hull, the structure of the ship is capable of handling what we are planning to put in there. Just like everything's been accounted for with regards to resizing of ducting for wiring, anything like that. It's now we've got basically an open spot where the warp field generator would be.
Okay. Until we get that fitted, I'm interested to see how, and he's looking around, how far I could push this old girl.
Well, you will be the chief pilot of our vessel. And Lieutenant Tuan, you are the highest ranking medical officer on board. The sick bay is yours.
Ah, I see.
I realize your main training was as the ship's counselor.
This is true. However, I do have medical training, and I believe I will be able to fill the role adequately.
Make sure you let Yannick know what personnel you require, and we will do our best to fill those roles for you.
I will do so, thank you.
And I assume I'll be working on the bridge with you, Captain?
Yes, you are under Mr. Yannick. He is head of science.
Ah, very good.
Is this a big starship by comparison?
Comparison to...
other starships, like the Excelsior would be pretty huge compared to this ship, I'm assuming.
Yes, Excelsior is bigger than this one. This is roughly the size of the original Enterprise from memory, I think.
Okay.
So it's not tiny.
The original Enterprise from...
Original series.
The original series. Okay. Captain, when are we heading out?
As soon as we can get space-worthy.
What can we do to help?
Well, there's still a lot of basic systems that need repairing. not sure if sick bay is up to your standard yet. I'm not sure where we are with all the flight surfaces. It's a case of we find something, we fix it if it needs fixing. If we can get the parts required, we put them in. But we're hoping to get this done as soon as possible.
Well, with your leave, Captain, I'll settle into quarters and head up to the bridge in an hour or so and run some pre-flight checks.
Very good.
Yes, if it's all right with you, I will go have a look at the medbay.
Yes, I think that would be a good idea. Get yourselves settled in and see where you can fit in best.
Thank you.
Do we get comm links?
Yeah, you got your...
Are you asking the captain?
First things first. Yeah.
I'm not aware if we have the comm links yet.
You've got your comm badge, which is the Starfleet,
Comm
Starfleet
badge, yeah.
symbol.
Yeah. Okay, so we already have them. Cool. All right. Well, Starfleet officers usually don't salute or anything like that, do they? I haven't seen them do it in Next Gen yet, and I'm watching the first season. They just sort of like say, "All right," and then they just leave.
Okay, bye.
That seems pretty formal.
I did think that was a little weird though. There's still there's a lot of naval tradition in Starfleet, so I did think it was a little weird that they don't ever seem to.
Considering the reprimands, Wesley got in trouble for going on the bridge without his mum's permission, even though he actually never stood on the bridge. He just stood in the turbo lift, and Picard got all angry and shit. I was like, wow, Picard's got a deep-seated anger issues at the moment. Well, Hunt's heading off to his quarters.
Yep, Kelle's
I'll
gonna
see
go.
you guys after, he says to the group before heading off.
Yes, goodbye. Kelle's gonna head out as well. To medbay.
And Aura's going to head to the science area to try and securely contain the plants that he has.
Yannick's going to go down to engineering to see about getting the lights working, because he's not annoyed, but he's somewhat discouraged that the lighting is not correct.
So everyone can make a roll based on what they want to try to fix within their department, and if you succeed, you can choose one thing to be fixed.
How much stress did we recover?
All of it over the rest period.
Oh, yay! Because we got medical
yeah.
treatment.
How do I know what my total is?
It's the number of unchecked the boxes without the X.
Right. So my boxes have an X, and it goes all the way up to 20 something.
Yes, but not all the boxes have X's.
Yeah, he would have started ticking them all the way up till he filled them up, and then you didn't record where yours stopped at.
Right.
Well, if it's an X, then it's not like if I click an unXed one, it does a check mark, not an X.
Oh
dear God.
I
We're already rolling back.
I only have check marks.
You only have check marks.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
What is it with you people?
I don't know. This ship isn't going to last very long with all of us.
We're just gonna destroy this ship.
I have one success.
So
Aaron, I have a success, but I am wondering about the supervisor talent
okay.
that I have. It says ship's crew support is increased by 1.
Okay, so if you want to get a role from one of the NPCs in engineering helping you, you can do that.
Okay. So
1915. My God, Chris.
That is one success.
That's oh, well, at least we're sort of half succeeding.
Mm-hmm.
So what would I be rolling, like control medicine or reason medicine? Or
Yeah,
what am I-
depending what you're trying to do, I'm willing to let it be flexible. It's not meant to be too restrictive.
Well, that's one success.
Okay, so for anyone who had one success, you can choose a minor system to have been repaired.
Okay.
And minor doesn't have to be trivial, but it's not massive.
Okay. In the science lab, I would say the containment fields, like the ability to contain various organisms and that kind of thing.
Okay.
Grow plants.
Cool. Yep, that makes sense because that's what you sort of wanted to do anyway. So, yep, you could have focused on that.
Can I say I've got the intensive care system working so that if there's emergencies, I can deal with that, and if it's smaller stuff, we can rely more on first aid for now?
Yep.
Okay.
I got one success for engineering. I will say that maybe I got the bridge lighting to work.
Yep, you can do a few decks. The lights aren't like, life support's a major system, but lights not as much. So you can, if you want to fix the lights can work.
Well, okay, so okay. But I was gonna, if we wanted to get specific on it, I was gonna say bridge and ready room or something like that.
How do you test impulse engines without actually impulsing around?
Well, I mean, you can definitely turn them on, and there'd be readings that you'd be getting from them to tell if they're, are they stable? Are they?
All right, so I've pushed them as hard as they can go with the handbrake on, basically.
And if that's where you want to put your thing, then the impulse engines seem okay.
Well, there's not much that a con guy can do with regards to fixing stuff realistically. I can test stuff to make sure it's working properly. So if the captain or the XO wants me to test certain things, then can't really test out warp functionality at the moment. Impulse engines and thrusters, maybe port thrusters, I could test them as well. But I guess given that the impulse engines are our main source of drive at the moment, Hunt sort of figured that they were more of the priority in case we needed to leave the station in a hurry.
Yeah, I mean, I think the captain would say too, is get yourself comfortable with the control layout.
That is, yes. The rolling is not unusual for this group.
If I had the old Yannick, I would have got 2 successes, but oh well.
Is it just Hunt up on the bridge?
No, there's a couple of different people. Communications is working. They're in their console. Like, they've got panels off and they're in there attaching wires, checking to see if any are frayed, if any have been... The feeling you're getting when you see over 2 days that you've sort of been working on the ship, you've sort of noticed it feels like this thing was gutted. Like, literally, they'd have been ripping this thing down to its basis materials because it was going to be scrapped. So they've pulled it out of that position, now trying to get it back to being space-worthy. So it's a case of, things like cabling and that, modern cabling's fine. But some things have been harder to sort of replicate and that. So there's been some field modifications going on to try to modernise the ship as well. The refit was a decent modernisation because the actual refit parts didn't have to be from the original design. But there's still areas where they don't make stuff like that anymore. So there's definitely been an effort to, how can we modify, bend the rules so that this all works. We can use newer parts and get newer stuff out of it.
Do I know who the message is from? Okay. I will head up to the bridge and say, Captain, I received an interesting message.
Is the captain on the bridge? Okay.
On day 2, he's sort of been...
Oh, it's the next day.
Yeah, we'll do a couple of days. Like, you don't have to be filling up every single moment.
It says, if we are interested in a warp core, we should come to the bar on level 13, and they have an opportunity for us. What do you make of that?
Not Starfleet. Where's Mr. Yarnick? Lieutenant Thatcher?
Well, Hunt's on the bridge.
If you want to proceed, do so with care. The bar is a public place, reasonably well populated, so it shouldn't be dangerous.
If you guys want me to go with, I'm willing to go with. I'm just saying that is where I am right now. If you want to come and get me, but if you don't, I understand that too, and that's fine.
Hunt turns around from looking at the console. Is obviously experimenting with certain thrusters and things. Aura, have you even been into a bar?
That's a good question. I have, just not in a long time. I'd feel more comfortable if perhaps a group of us went.
Well, I guess if you want to be inconspicuous, you can take us as a group, and we're taking some chill out time. Captain, permission to bring along the XO, and in case we get hit over the head, the ship's counselor.
I don't think I am the ship's counselor at this point.
You're both.
I'm both.
But you only get paid for one.
I love I just love. All right. We're gonna go to a bar for a maybe sketchy deal. Captain, is it okay if we take the first officer, the highest ranking medical officer?
Well, I trust you.
Ah.
And having been in bar fights.
Okay, I'll bring a first aid kit.
Are you expecting trouble?
No, but he said
Who?
having been in bar fights.
I think the XO is in the best place right now. We need the ship systems, and that's where he's excellent at. If you want to take the counselor, I trust her judgment when it comes to the truthfulness of people.
Well, if we're going to a bar,
It will be important to know the motivations of the person who sent us this message.
so you sure you don't know who sent it to you?
I've got no idea. It was,
Why would they send it to you?
I don't know. I don't know who they could be or how they heard of me. Or that I was looking for a warp core, which we are.
You haven't been talking to anyone on, like, around or on the ship or anything?
I mean, yeah, just like the crew, but if the crew knew how to find a warp core, I'm sure they just would, right?
Oh, I guess. I mean, but even I've been whinging about not having a warp core for the last couple of days.
It's not exactly been a secret.
But, admittedly, Captain, just to have a warp core laying around is a little bit unusual.
I agree.
It sounds like they want us to do something in return. Not monetary based. It doesn't sound like. More like a job.
Oh, okay.
Well,
I'm intrigued.
they say they have an opportunity for us, and I guess that's what I assumed, but I suppose it could be anything.
Alright, did you want to go grab the... Brain not working. I still haven't gotten over this concussion. Maybe I need some Romulan ale. I'm just going to go and get into some civvies. Or not. Or is this official duty, Captain?
This is well outside what I would say we normally do. Do what you think best.
I think it makes sense to go in our uniform. They obviously know that we're Starfleet, and if anything, it will hopefully give us a little bit more respect in the bar.
You obviously haven't spent a lot of time in bars, Lieutenant.
Well, no, but what do you mean?
That's okay. We'll go as Starfleet officers. They contacted you as a Starfleet officer, so I would assume that they would be expecting Starfleet officers. So best to present ourselves as such.
Yes, that was my thinking as well.
He taps on his comlink. Diddly-link. Commander Hunt to Lieutenant Tuan.
Yes, Commander.
I don't know how to say this, but we're going to a bar. And you're coming with.
Okay.
Please ready maybe a med kit, and medical tricorder.
Dare I ask why?
You can. I don't know if I can answer that question. We're going to a bar.
Okay.
Actually, this station is a Federation station, or is this?
This is a Federation station.
It is
Yep.
a Federation station. Okay, so not likely to have bar fights.
Not unless we start one.
Yeah.
I can bring a med kit if you believe that will be necessary.
Given where we are, probably we won't need one. But it would be good to have your advice.
Understood.
Or expertise.
Expertise in bars?
Yep.
I wasn't aware I had any.
Meet you down at the port hatch.
All right. Be there shortly.
Alright, with your leave, Captain.
Very good.
Lieutenant,
I will come along as well.
lead the way.
Of course, because they are looking for me.
Yeah, of course. I just assumed that you were coming.
Yes. So, I don't actually know where this bar is. I know it's level 13, but I haven't explored the station much. Maybe it would be good to bring someone along who knows the station well, or I suppose we could just find it out.
Are you asking me or the captain?
Either. If we're still there.
I guess, as we're heading towards the... what is it? Turbo lift? The captain, the crew, the communications
We keep
officer.
adding more and more people, so...
That's the way the commander sees it.
To field trip to a bar.
Yep. Alright, so we're turbo lift's closed and we're going down, and he's turned to Hunt's turn to the lieutenant. You think someone who knows the station? Who? What? You talking about the XO, are you?
Yeah, I mean, anyone really. The...
Turbo lift, engineering.
Alright, good call.
Gonna try and bring the person the captain said not
Well,
to.
I don't want to walk around everywhere, so I know the captain said not to bring him, but I mean, we're only going to be gone for what, an hour? Who's going to notice? And we get down to engineering, I'm assuming.
Yep.
That the turbo lift gets us down there and doesn't break down halfway. We have to climb the rest of the way.
It's powered by candles.
No, lighting's working.
Oh, yes, the lighting is working.
So we had to move the candles to power the turbo lift.
There you go.
Yes. The turbo lift is candle powered.
Alright, so we're looking around for the XO, and
All right.
once we finally catch up to him,
I'm trying to replicate some hot Earl Grey tea, but it keeps coming out as iced
Ew.
tea.
ew.
It's not working.
I don't blame it. XO, we've got a lead on a warp core. It would be good to have you guide us. We're supposed to meet someone at a bar. It is our understanding that you've been on this station for a little while, so you might know where we're going.
Perhaps it would be good if I did accompany you to ensure that you're not meeting someone that poses ill will towards the Federation.
Oh no, he looks. The Hunt looks at the lieutenant. The message was pretty clear and simple. They just sort of wanted to give us something like the warp core in exchange for services rendered. That's the general gist.
We don't actually know what those services are yet, but
Oh, yes. Yep, okay. All right. I think the ship's council is waiting for us at the port hatch. So
Yep.
we probably should make our way quickly.
Okay.
And we head to the port hatch.
And Kelle is there.
What, tapping her foot?
No. Just waiting.
So I just tell them I'll stand back and observe, at least for a start, to kind of make sure that there's nothing, that they're not going to be ambushed or anything like that. I realize it's a Federation space station, but still, there's a lot of unsavory traffic floating through here.
So what is this about?
Apparently the lieutenant here received a message about a warp core.
I did.
Interesting. From who?
We don't know.
You don't know. Huh.
Yeah.
Yes. It is a little troubling that someone would even know to contact him, given that he only just 2 days ago reported for duty on the Pegasus.
That is true.
So his appointment is not well known.
It must be someone who knows you, or at least knows you're here.
Yeah, I can't think of who that would be unless it was one of you guys.
I can't imagine why we would send you a message instead of just saying that we knew where to find a warp core.
With technical glitches aboard the Pegasus, it could be that our computer systems were infiltrated. And data was stolen.
Well, it's a well-known fact that we need a warp core. So, information sells all the time. And, yeah.
Yeah, I'm just
And
concerned
so-
how they would
sorry.
know to contact Lieutenant Thatcher.
He is a science officer aboard the Pegasus.
Which, again, was only made public
So they
knowledge
might
2
not want
days
to go
ago.
to someone... Well, they might not want to go to the EXO.
Correct,
or the
but how
captain.
did they know that Lieutenant Thatcher was the science officer aboard the Pegasus?
I.e., the information, yes. So,
Regardless of how they knew, we are now going to a bar?
Yes,
Affirmative.
that's where they said to meet.
Huh.
and Hud's sort of scratching his head and he's going, I just thought it would be a little bit pertinent considering my history with in bars. So, not that I'm saying he's holding up his hands like in a surrendering. I'm not the one that usually starts them. Okay.
Starts what?
Funny things, messing around, jovial, punching and strangling and...
Jovial strangling.
I'm not familiar with that. Is this a human thing?
Yes.
Ah. Well, it doesn't sound like a good idea.
Well, it's generally not to the death.
I should hope not. I can't think what would be jovial about that.
And how often does this happen?
Not often. Shall we head? EXO? You can...
The commander
the
is
only
somewhat
human
eager
here.
to
Nobody
change
can-
the subject. You humans and your proclivity for the consumption of alcohol.
Nobody here can disprove that humans do that.
Yes.
We're
Yes,
like,
let us make all haste.
Yes.
Let's go.
The ship be safe-worthy. Or what? The ship is
Space-worthy.
space-worthy.
Safe
And safe.
What?
The ship is safe and space-worthy.
Well, this got dark quick.
He taps on his comlink. Diddly-link. Yeah, you're going to have to replace that.
Yeah, we'll get it in post.
You've got a custom one that sounds like that.
I'm just going to cut and paste that for every time someone uses Yannick to the bridge. Diddly-link.
Oh dear.
That's the new retrofit sound.
The Voyages of the USS Pegasus utilises the excellent official rules Star Trek Adventures released by Mephidius Games. Featuring Emily as Lieutenant Kelle, Shadow as Lieutenant Aura, Raveninsane as Commander Hunt, Ken as Commander Yannick, and Ghost as the GM. Many of the sounds come from Syrinscape, an excellent app for bringing more life to your gaming table. You can find us at critfail.com.